My cross-country adventure with my wife and kids in this camper van from Gearbox Adventure Rentals continues. Right before dark, we stopped at this super neat farm and campsite. And in the morning, we woke up to explore. Absolutely beautiful. Check out this view, guys. The ground even feels different here. Feels pretty soft. Oh, and look over there. There's a cow. Just roaming around. Whenever I go somewhere new, I really like to check out the topography and the landscape and see all the different plants and animals that are there, how they vary from where I live. And just looking here at some of these evergreen trees here, they're just slightly different than what we have back home, just a slightly different species. And seeing how, as I mentioned, the ground's different and how the grass is different. And even things like squirrels. The squirrels can be different coloration. You never know what you'll see and you get out and just explore. Oh, there's even a river down here. Just a nice, calm river. Oh, even a beautiful little, I guess that's a little mountain. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
See something over there?
Yep.
What do you see?
A lot of cows.
Ooh, there are some cows over there. Think they're watching you? You're watching them. What'd you find over here? A tree? It's a big tree. What else you find? You found something else? What'd you find? Ah, you found a little cart over there. A trailer. How you guys feeling? Feeling better?
Yep, feeling better.
Oh, we got a little lizard friend up there. Is that
And another.
Oh, that's pretty cute. Oh, leave him up there.
Hey, my foot's stuck.
Oh, there's another one. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yep.
So right now we're here at the C2T Ranch, and it's actually a regenerative farm. So I look forward to maybe looking around this place. We're in Kansas, we're like 280 some miles away from Kansas City, but we still are like 300 and almost 50 miles away from Denver, Colorado. But it's just really, really beautiful out here, and it's just open and free. It's been so neat to see all just the openness. It's just, I absolutely love it. It's been so amazing. And this is where we stayed last night. We got in right at sunset, so we didn't get to really look around much, but this morning we are. And let's go explore a little bit. So a little breezy, but we're here with Chad, right?
Yes.
Chad?
Yes.
And this is C2T
Ranch.
Ranch,
My
okay.
wife is named Cynthia, so it's Chad and Cynthia Tuttle.
Oh, that's where that comes from. I
Yes.
saw that on the sign and was like, where does that come from?
That's
So now
exactly
we know.
right. Yes.
Alrighty, so
Okay.
you're gonna show us around.
Yeah.
Saw the cows down here this morning. They
Yeah,
were
did
nice.
you see that?
Yeah.
They're not supposed to be down here.
They didn't bother us.
When we lost the power due to the blizzard on Tuesday or Monday night, a lot of electric fences went off, and so they got out. There was 40 head down here, but I knew they were down here last night, but I left them back in the trees and was hoping they wouldn't bug you too much. So.
They don't bother us at all. We enjoyed it.
Yeah. Cows in the campground is my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
For the most part, nobody minds.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, we got to see the cows. And eventually we'll bring horses and donkeys down here and put them in here. And the campers love those. The horses learn real quick.
There we go.
The campers will feed them apples and treats and things like that.
So do you allow campers here throughout the year, or certain times of the year?
Mostly we're April through November, just depending on the weather. Keep the powered sites we normally leave open year round, and we get a few campers in over the winter, but our biggest times are definitely May through October, really. It's our busy season.
Okay.
This is kind of our primitive site. It's down here where the river makes a big bend, and so you get a sand beach and you get all kinds of fun stuff.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
What kind of tree is that?
That's a big old cottonwood tree.
Beautiful
120, 130 years old, something like that. So,
Wow.
yeah, very cool tree. That wind is kind of chilly this morning.
It is. Seemed like it didn't start off that way.
I agree. I thought it was a lot nicer at 8 o'clock this morning when I was out doing stuff. This is going to be a good day.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it now.
So you guys had a lot of snow last week?
It's actually Monday night. We had about a 2-inch rain, and then it changed to snow and had between 4 and 6 inches of snow that was real wet, and it sat on the power lines. I think they said there's about 500 broken power poles in our county alone right now that we're still trying to fix. So, and we're at the end. We're so far out in the country, we're always going to be the last ones back on.
Yeah. Way good.
Yep. We're clearing some new sites here. This will be a new powered site. We've got power over there, so we'll bring power over here. Clear out a bunch of trees. Eventually there'll be more powered sites up and down this part of the river, and some more over there where you guys are at too. Our goal eventually is to get to about 12 powered sites and 12 primitive sites. And I don't know, did you guys see the yurts or the glamping tents? Probably not.
No, we didn't see them.
We'll swing over that way.
Okay.
And see them for sure. So, the Tom's out strutting for straight strut.
We got horses. Sailor's missing out.
It was so bad.
Yes, you would.
Yeah, those turkeys love hanging up here by the house. I feed those horses corn and stuff. So
Wow.
they're always sneaking around trying to steal some.
So turkeys, are they just wild turkeys that are part of the property?
just wild turkeys. There's another batch down here.
Oh, wow.
They flock up during this time of year, and then as it gets to be spring, they kind of spread out and have their nests and babies and things. But, yeah, we usually have a flock of a few hundred running around.
Wow.
And there again, we got an old pig laying here that I feed every morning so they come out.
You ever eat any of the turkeys?
You know, I'm not a big wild turkey fan. My wife doesn't like it a lot at all, and she would be the one who'd cook it, so I just don't. We don't cook the wild turkeys anymore. When you have beef and stuff like that you've raised, it's hard to want to go with wild game.
Yeah, I can see that.
These old rock corrals, that's kind of the reason we came up through here. They were built in the 1880s.
Oh, wow.
There's some spots that have fallen down, and the rock barn obviously has been a lot of them back in use. It was all quarried off that face that's over there across the way for the quarter mile. It made such a nice flat limestone face then. That was all quarried over there and hauled over to here. Back in, like I say, 1886 through 88, so a long time ago. A lot of work for manual labor too.
Yeah. Wow.
It's amazing how much work they put into these huge corrals. These corrals, we've had 500 cows in them. It doesn't look like very many at all. Got a ranch historian who does a lot of metal detecting and things, and he got a crew kind of together, and they started detecting, and they found a bunch of bullets and a whole bunch of different rifle parts and all kinds of things, and they kind of pieced it together and determined that back in 1867, the Buffalo Soldiers, which was the black regiment that was formed up in eastern Kansas, had come out, and their first engagement was called the Battle of the Saline River with the Indians, but they had never found where it was, and it turns out it was right over there across the river on that point, and on to the north. That's where they had the fight. We found all kinds of stuff showing. I think the Indians lost 6 or 7 people, and one Buffalo Soldier was killed.
Wow.
Lots of uncovered history last summer because of that. They just found the site. Archaeologists came out and certified it last summer and told them that they were on the right track. So kind of cool thinking, again, that was before anything would have been out here, but they were out here having fights and things back then.
How does that feel to have part part of that history, be a part of the farm and operation.
It's so
that you
cool.
ever-
It's a neat experience to uncover history that nobody had any idea of what it was going to look like. Or, I mean, we didn't know. We knew about the Battle of the Slane River, but nobody had any reason to think that it was here. Everybody put it further west, and we uncovered the evidence that showed why it was here. If you read the maps right and read their descriptions right, and then again found all kinds of artifacts. They found hundreds of artifacts. So, yeah, it makes it very fun when you already know you've got a great place, because it's so cool down here. Very unique landscape for Kansas especially, and then you find something like that, and it's pretty overwhelming.
Yeah.
These are just some more of our primitive sites that we have set up. Normally they'll have a picnic table at them during the summer and everything. You can come down here and stay right. Everything's right along the river and right along the base of the cliffs. This is kind of where the campground ends, and like I say, can't really cross it today, but that battle site's right across the river over there, so that's where it was all at. And we do walking tours and things like that during nice weather and show people what that looks like.
That's fantastic. So you've raised cattle for how long now?
Well, I've been in the cattle business in one way or another most of my life, I guess. We've been out here now for about 16 years and had cattle all the time that we were out here. Typically, we were a typical status quo operation where we just had the cows out on grass in the summer and fed them all winter. And the last 5 years, we switched it to the regenerative mode, where we were trying to rotate them and mob graze them and keep them grazing most of the year. So it's about 5 years in this new system that we've changed to.
That's fantastic. What was it that inspired you to want to make the change?
Honestly, we switched to regenerative agriculture mostly because I was looking to figure out how we could make money.
Yeah.
The profits just weren't there on what we were trying to do. Every year at the end of harvest and everything, you'd sit down and think there just wasn't enough money. It wasn't enough grain, wasn't enough whatever you were raising. Too many expenses, too many fertilizer bills. Stumbled into regenerative agriculture as a way to try to save some money and stay more profitable. Even if you don't generate as many dollars, you don't spend as much either. So kind of started looking into it, and one step led to another, and pretty soon you've got your whole system has to be that way, because it won't work otherwise. We thought we could just rotationally graze and kind of make it work and still raise wheat and corn and things, and pretty soon we realized it wouldn't work at all unless what we did was we sold all the harvest equipment and started planting cover crops on the farm ground that we harvest with the cows.
Wow.
So the goal is to harvest everything with cows.
That is great. That is great. So there's some farmers who think that you can't make money doing it this way, but you're figuring out how to make it work.
I would argue that the alternative is going to be true, that as prices go up, even though the prices of commodities have gone way up, there's going to come a time that those commodity prices come back down and the fertilizer prices are going to stay high, because that's how it always works.
Yeah.
And I would argue that if guys sat down, I spent about 15 years running different banks and being an ag loan officer before I became a farmer full time. And I looked at a lot of cash flows, looked at a lot of balance sheets, and if guys are really honest with themselves, most operations lose money 8 years out of 10.
Yeah.
You make money a couple of years, and you make some pretty decent money a couple of those years, but most farmers actually live on appreciation of their land for the most part. And so I would argue that typical operators need to take a lot sharper pencil to their operation, because I don't think they're making as much money as they think they are in the conventional stuff. And we saw the changes in the land right away. Even the spots that there's been lots of spots that have been pretty challenging due to floods and everything else, but the spots that we've really been able to manage the way we wanted have just turned around under this new management style. They're producing more grass, they're producing way fewer weeds, they're carrying more cattle. It's better all the way around.
Yeah, better for the animals, better for the environment, and ultimately it gets better for you as well.
Better for us. The food should be better. Ultimately, if you had a food system filled with food like that, the food would be more nutritiously dense. It would be better for everybody involved if we did it this way.
Now, what would you say to a farmer who's on the fence and maybe somewhat considering going to this, but they're maybe a little scared? What would you say to them?
That's a hard spot, because you have to jump off, and a lot of times, like around here, we're the only ones doing it. and so your neighbors think you're crazy. Yeah, your friends and family are going to think you're nuts. What I did was I kind of surrounded myself with people who were doing it. The early guys, we're kind of an early adopter, but we didn't figure any of this stuff out. All I did was went out and copied people who had already done it. And there's guys out there. There's guys in every area that are doing this. We talked about Gabe Brown up in Bismarck, North Dakota, and he's in as challenging of an environment in North Dakota as you can get in, I think. And I know people up in Saskatchewan that are doing it too. So you get into some of those tough environments and find people that are doing it, and then you can convince yourself you can do it too.
That's right.
I'm sure of it. I'm sure that's how we're supposed to be feeding the world. If the world's going to be a technologically advanced world by like 2050 with 12 billion people on it, let's say we don't kill ourselves between now and then somehow. And maybe we will, I don't know. But let's say we don't. If we're gonna have a world like that, it's going to have to be something that's fed by regenerative agriculture, or else our land isn't going to be worth anything.
Exactly right.
We can't do it otherwise. So,
Yeah.
Bill Gates has got a different idea. You know, Bill Gates thinks we can do it all industrial with more chemicals.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see who wins that.
Yeah.
I think he's completely wrong, and he thinks we're completely nuts.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But when you come out here and you start seeing things work together in a system, and you see that that's sustainable.
Right. Yeah. This can work. What we look for now is we need somebody who will bring in goats and sheep and pastured poultry and pastured pigs, and add some diversity to the livestock, and then all of a sudden it's super sustainable. You can do that. You can raise all kinds of different proteins on a place like this if you've got people interested in doing it.
Exactly right. All righty.
That's good. Nice to talk about. What I found when I took this place over, I was farming in other spots, and at one time I had about 5,000 or 6,000 acres total that I was farming and running cattle on. And when I switched to this, I found out you can't do that. You have to, if you're going to manage holistically and regeneratively, it needs to be smaller operations, more people involved. And so there again, now we've fixed the problem that rural America's got, because rural America is losing people because all the operations are getting bigger. Yep. But if we move to regenerative agriculture, we can pull people back out into the rural areas and fix it and do it the right way.
Yep. Exactly right.
It's unbelievable how completely backwards the status quo is. And again, if that makes me a conspiracy theorist, so be it. All I'm looking for is solutions that work.
That's right.
And we have to feed the world. That's kind of become something that farmers say, oh, that's silly to talk about. But if farmers aren't going to talk about how you feed the world, who the hell's going to?
Exactly.
Bill Gates has no business doing that.
No.
It makes no sense for him to be that person, other than he's a big investor in the companies that make money off of industrial agriculture.
Yeah, exactly right.
Plant-based crap food.
Yeah, I will make no money off of people switching to regenerative agriculture, but it's still the right thing to encourage people to do.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
I've spent the last few years looking at things differently than people typically want to look at them, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what's so much fun about finding the campground, because you go from your neighbors thinking you're nuts to finding people like you guys who are like, oh yeah, we get it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, maybe I'm not nuts. So, I don't know.
We know exactly what you mean.
Yeah,
We live in a yurt. We know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can't do yurts down here because technically this is still in the floodplain.
Okay.
And so the government just threw a fit when I said I was going to do yurts.
Okay.
But we put up these glamping tents instead and built platforms, and that's been a really fun deal for people.
I never stayed in one of those. I'd like to check that out. Yeah. Oh, nice.
This is fun for people pulling in off the interstate who don't want to make a tent up or don't have a tent or anything.
Yeah. Wow. This is cool.
Like I say, it's not been straightened up.
Yeah, this looks great. What do you think, Micah? Could you stay in here? That's pretty neat.
Fun, huh?
Awesome.
We need to set one of these up on our property.
Well, I was just thinking about that.
That's
People
pretty
want to
cool.
come and we've talked about doing classes or like chicken butchering and stuff like that. This would be like one of the perfect things that we could do.
Yeah, you could do that. Absolutely. How many acres did you say you guys had?
We're only on 10.
Yeah.
That's enough,
Yeah.
though. I mean, that's, again, when you start trying to do the things you're trying to do, I look around and go, like I told you last night, I'm never going to get all the stuff done out here because there's just too much.
Yeah.
The nice thing about 10 acres is you can kind of be like, I'm going to get there someday.
Yeah.
Actually, on the way when we were leaving, he was just talking about, we were going past our goats, and he's like, when we moved here 8 years ago, like, we're at the place where we were like dreamed about being just so 8 years ago, and so that was really neat.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's so much fun.
Even though the marker has changed now as far as what our goals and plans are.
That's the right way
but looking back, I am where I wanted to be.
That's good to look back and remind yourself that you made the progress you wanted to make.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can get bogged down thinking you're never going to get it done.
Exactly.
I know I feel that way.
Because there's always something to do that needs to be done.
Always. And there's always a challenge that just popped up that you weren't expecting.
So where do you get one of these tents from?
This came from Stout Tents. If you Google them, Stout Tents, and then we've got another one that was White Duck, I guess. There's about a half a dozen manufacturers that you can get them from. They're all pretty similar.
Great.
Make for a fun alternative to something permanent versus something that you have to pitch every night too. So.
And how much do you rent these out for?
These go for $60 a night.
Okay, so. That is great. And great views.
Eventually these trees are going to come out of here, and there'll be a line of about 6 of them is the plan.
Great.
Here. Should have a perfect view of what's up there. That's the goal.
Thanks for showing us inside.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, what inspired you to open up the property for allowing people to camp here and do different things?
A hip camp ad actually popped up on my Facebook feed, I think in February of 2020. No, a little bit before that, like maybe January of 2020. And I thought, hey, we could do that. This whole area had been under a flood, actually a series of 5 floods, but one great big flood in May of 2018. And by where you're camped, we lost a big pool and a whole bunch of other stuff. And we kind of spent a couple of years not even coming down here because we were pretty depressed.
Wow, yeah, I could see that.
It was just, the place was really torn up. And then I kind of stumbled into hip camp and I thought, well, I could set up like 4 sites is what I set up at first. One powered site over there where you're at, and then a couple 3 primitive sites. And then the pandemic happened. And I kind of forgot about it through February and March, because everybody's paying attention to the pandemic. And then I got my first reservation, I guess, in April, and people came through April 28th, I think, that right before May. And the first people came, and then pretty soon we had more reservations, and pretty quick, we were very busy by the 1st of June, we were super busy.
Wow.
We kind of looked at each other and said, this feels like this could be a thing. And met some people like yourselves who understood what we were trying to do out here, and just met a lot of regular campers who were super excited. It's the perfect place for one. We're just blessed with the right spot for a campsite.
Yeah.
And so we kind of stumbled into it. And then after that, we thought, well, I'm going to sit down over the winter and design a campground that's still small enough that nobody feels crowded. I don't want 1,000 RVs parked in the end.
Yeah.
But I think scattered out, we can scatter out 30 sites along this 2 miles of river that we've got on this loop, and nobody's going to feel close. And so we started doing that. And like I said, last year was kind of our first year where we tried to expand and just had a tremendous response from the public.
Yeah, that's great.
Just fell into it, really.
And I like the style that you're doing, and it's the way you're doing it. It still allows the environment to still have a nice feel to it.
We need to feel regenerative still.
Yeah, exactly.
If we spread a whole bunch of rock or poured concrete down there and made it so that it looked like most typical RV parks, it would not feel right. We want people to understand what the difference is between that style and what we're doing out here. And that style works great for people that have shoehorned it into small areas and things. That's nothing against those kinds of parks. But if you've got this kind of room and it makes sense to take advantage of it, you should.
Yeah. This is my kind of place right here.
I understand. These are going to be cleared out.
So the eastern red cedars, are they from the northeast? Because I don't see them, this kind of cedar in our area.
Well, we have red cedar.
But not this breed.
I think the ones further south are a different kind.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure really where they're native.
Okay. Just curious.
I know they're not native to this area. They were brought in 100 years ago or less, and a lot of them they started out as windbreak trees, and they're pretty good for that, but then they spread their seeds.
And you said, how did they get here again?
They got up in the canyons really bad just because back when, before anybody knew anything about rotational grazing, we just dumped cows out and let them eat, and then picked them up in the wintertime and took them home and fed them. And this would have been way back before I was out here on the ranch, but the cows kind of congregate in the nice areas of the canyons, and they trample the grass in, and then as there's more bare dirt, that lets the cedar trees get started. They really are a symptom of overgrazing, is what they're a symptom of. So, and desertification of the land. So that's kind of why we're we're pro-tree, but against things like eastern red cedars that are not supposed to be here in the nuisance. So
they are everywhere.
Yeah, they're and this area, this ranch has always been known for the cedar trees just because they got started here real early. And like up in the canyons and things, there'll always be some bare ground that they can take root in, so you won't ever get rid of all of them. So, and that's okay. Eventually, the goal is to clear those, and we're going to build a deck out there and then put a tent up here and have a wedding venue.
Ooh, so that'd be nice.
Really neat view and everything, and so start doing weddings and things out here, which is just more of the hospitality stuff that you can combine with the ranch and make it work.
Nice little romantic spot to have a wedding at.
Right? That's the goal.
And if they're like us, maybe even a honeymoon.
There you go. There you go. That's what that was kind of why I thought, with 6 glamping tents right there, we can make it a destination wedding. You can have glamping tents for guests that want to stay, or put yourself up a tent somewhere up in the canyon for your honeymoon night, or whatever we want to do. So, yep, lots of options. Kind of a cold weather tour anyway.
Oh, this was nice. We really appreciate you taking us on this tour.
Yeah, you bet. It was great to meet you both.
Nice to meet you too.
It's always fun to run into people who, like I say, who get it. Conspiracy theorists or not, we don't care.
That's all right.
All we're looking for is the right way to do these things.
There we go. We got to see if we can swing by here again.
Yeah, like I say, we'll be here. So absolutely. Right. We've got a website, c2tranch.com. So if you want to hook up and communicate anytime, feel free to do that.
Sounds good. And for anybody who wants to come out here and experience out here, they can go on the website as well.
Yeah, c2tranch.com will get you to the hip campsite as well. There's links there to do bookings and things like that.
Are you on Facebook or anything else?
Yeah, there'll be a site on Facebook for C2T Ranch and Instagram and all those good things.
All right. All right, so guys, check it out.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome. After our tour with Chad, we hit the road to continue our adventure. So stay tuned to see where we head to next.